Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to race number 2 of Season 9 of the NNSCRA Marvel Studios Cup Series. I am Levi McIntyre, the voice of the NNSCRA Marvel Studios Cup Series, here to welcome you to the first Union 400 at North Wilkesboro Speedway as we're getting set for 60 laps of racing at this little over a 0.6 mile short track, as should be a good one, as we've seen some interesting races here in North Wilkesboro in the past, particularly last season. Who knows if we're going to see the same thing here today or not. But quick note as far as with the qualifying, as you guys saw at the beginning of the video, who all made the race and who all didn't. As a reminder, in those two qualifying sessions you saw the results of at the beginning of the video, the bottom 5 from each session did not make the race. So that's just a reminder about that. But the starting lineup, starting in the last row, we have William Brock and Keith Miller Jr. Top 10, however, Dylan Young, who did not make the Daytona 500 last week, he gets in this week, and he's on the pole, and starting next to him is his teammate Stuart Campbell. Row 2, we have Jordan Forbes, Daniel Voiles. Row 3, Alyssa Drayson, Ryan Acosta. Row 4, Henry Sanford, Daniel Bouchard. And row 5, Scott Groverston and Jordan Lopez. Let's get the command to fire engines for the first Union 400 at North Wilkesboro.
Drivers, start your engines!
All 40 drivers rolling around for the one pace lap around here. So everybody that did not make the Daytona 500 last week got in this week. So, needless to say, every driver has at least competed once this season. Who knows what will happen in the next race to follow, which, by the way, I do have an idea of where we are heading to next week, but I'm going to leave that as a surprise. Pace car pulled into pit road, which means we are getting ready to get underway finally here at North Wilkesboro, getting ready to come off of turn number 4. And ladies and gentlemen, once again, it is time to boogity 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 go racing. Well, Dylan Young led the first lap, but Jordan Forbes really tried to get up to the lead right there, but now he's under attack from Alyssa Drayson in that number 87 Life is Strange Toyota out of Zev Bellringer Enterprises. Yeah, Alyssa, just like Dylan Young and Jordan Forbes, did not make the Daytona 500 last week, but is in this week here at North Wilkesboro. Now, the thing is, who knows if this knockout qualifying thing, if there's even going to be a 50-driver field in Season 10. You never know. Things might change. We'll just have to wait and see. But for now, we got this, and so far it's proven to be very unpredictable. Meanwhile, wow, look at Henry Sanford in that 07 car. Henry Sanford, who's coming off of a phenomenal 5th place run during the Daytona 500, starting today off much better. Right now, about to try and take 2nd away from Alyssa Drayson. And meanwhile, this is exactly what Dylan Young likes to see in his mirror, is his competitors battling while he tries to pull away. But he isn't pulling away in a massive fashion, because in fact Henry Sanford is actually faster than Dylan Young on the racetrack. It's just all a matter of if he can catch the two and pass him. Meanwhile, Alyssa Drayson under fire for 3rd by Scott Groverston, and now Jesse Turner has entered into the picture. And Jesse Turner, on the other hand, had a rather abysmal Daytona 500, finished 33rd He's definitely looking to try and pick up the pace and try and excel in the point standings. Speaking of the Daytona 500, let's see where we can find the winner of the Daytona 500, Aaron Macklin, on the racetrack. There he is, last scored in the 13th position, so far having a pretty decent run, as actually quite a few of his competitors in the point standings in the top 5, Chris Dollerton, Zachary Fitzwater, and Adam Garcia, did not make this race. The highest other driver in the top 5 in points that did make it was Henry Sanford. So this is going to show you how unpredictable the championship might become if we run into situations like this. Dylan Young right now hanging on to the race lead still, as Scott Groverston finds himself up to second, and he was only about 2/100ths faster than Dylan Young. He's still got a lot of time to try and catch him, although I do have a feeling that when we get around the halfway point of this race is when we will see pit stops, depending on if we have any cautions or not, in which so far these drivers are racing each other very, very, very clean. But nonetheless, Dylan Young still hanging on, although Groverston actually was almost a whole 10th faster than Dylan Young on that previous lap. And I forgot to mention that because I was unable to add that bonus point to Charles Sanford for Daytona last week for the fastest lap, we will not do fastest lap bonus points this season, because Score 4 just will not allow me to do that for some reason. Anytime I tried to do it, my Score 4 kept crashing, and we ran into problems. So we're not doing bonus points for for fastest lap. Meanwhile, lap times between the two in this 42 are very similar, although Groverston was 0.003 faster. Although Henry Sanford was actually faster than the top two, running under 22 seconds. Same for Alyssa Drayson. I'm looking around to see if anybody else was fast on that lap. Most other drivers were in the 22s. Groverston ran under a 22-second lap, and he's slowly catching, but Henry Sanford is also slowly catching. Let's actually see, not for the purposes of the bonus point, but just to see who has ran the fastest lap of the race. Joey Parkhill at a 21.618. Pretty remarkable for this kind of racetrack. That time, Dylan Young was faster than both Groverston and Sanford. And whoa, little bump and run there for the 5th position, it looks like, as Daniel Voiles takes that spot from Jordan Forbes. Yeah, a little bump and run action just happened right there, and it's not even halfway through this race, and we're already seeing some hard contact for trying to take position away. Meanwhile, in that previous lap, Groverston is closing in bit by bit to the 2 car. Both drivers fellow Dodge drivers, however, but for different teams. Groverston for the Shadow Called Racing team, and Dylan Young for Young Motorsports. Yet they both own their own operations, and wow, look at the run Groverston got just out of nowhere. Something must have been amiss on that lap for Dylan Young, because now it's side by side for the lead. Dylan Young was about a half a second slower on that previous lap, and now Groverston with the advantage on the inside. Apologize for the random freezing there. I don't know what was going on with that, but Scott Groverston now to the lead here in North Wilkesboro. Henry Sanford up here into the picture as well. Definitely ran faster than the top two did, and not only that, but Daniel Voiles is slowly reeling his way up there as well. Voiles might be looking to try and make a move underneath of Henry Sanford to get to 3rd. And Daniel Voiles last week had a great run, finishing 7th in the Daytona 500, and he's looking to try and keep on his momentum And actually, out of the top 10 in points, these two, Henry Sanford and Daniel Voiles, are the highest on track, battling it out. So this could end up being the new 1-2 in points going into our next race on Wednesday. But Henry Sanford to the inside of Dylan Young, although Daniel Voiles, it looked like he tried to make it 3 wide, but just to no avail right there. And actually, Henry Sanford was a little bit slower on the inside off of 2. Now he picks up the momentum again and is going to take second away from Dylan Young for the time being. Let's look around and see where the points leader, Aaron Macklin, is currently on track at this moment. There he is, last scored 20th, so he's actually been slipping since the beginning of the race. Not a great start this week for the Daytona 500 winner. Let's get back up to the front where the crazy stuff's going on, as Scott Groverston's quietly pulling away from everyone. Well, actually, he was slower than Henry Sanford on that previous lap, so Henry Sanford must have something forward to 42 if we stay green the rest of the way. But Daniel Voiles is no slouch either. He's really fast on the track, but he's just having a hard time getting around that 0.7 of Sanford. Dylan Young still hanging on into the top 5 and 4th, but Alyssa Drayson, she's also been in the top 5 all race long, trying to find a way around Dylan Young for herself. Meanwhile, Michael Norman, who finished 16th in the Daytona 500, having a better run going right now in the 6th spot. And then you got Jesse Turner with a solid performance going in 7th, definitely a step up from last week. Meanwhile, Joey Parkhill, who still has the fastest lap overall in the race, up to the 8th spot, and he's definitely looking for a good run after he finished dead last in the Daytona 500 last week, after he was caught up in the big one. There's William Brock, who finished 21st at Daytona, having a really solid day going in the 9th spot. And then right now, Henry Durand, who also making his first ever start in the Marvel Studios Cup Series, as he failed to make Daytona last week. He's in this race and currently running very strong in 10th. Then let's look at the rest of the top 20. So we have Caleb Kilburn in 11th, 12th is Jordan Forbes, 13th Stephen Kalan, 14th Jessica Sheldon, 15th Daniel Bouchard, 16th Rafael Leduc, 17th Stuart Campbell, 18th Ryan Acosta, 19th Aaron Macklin, 20th Trey Wright. Don't know why it's freezing like that. Anyways, 21st is James Qualls, 22nd Cole Deaver, 23rd Charles Belding, 24th Ashland Boyd, 25th Keith Miller Jr., 26th is Seth Cole, 27th Jay Jefferson, 28th Alexander Rowe, 29th Arthur Xavier, 30th Charles Sanford, 31st Rob Evans, 32nd Carson Gum, 33rd Mitchell Collins, 34th Matt McIntyre, 35th Kyle Matthews, 36th is, whoa, saw that happen, Dylan Jacobs, 37th Jonathan Zorline, as there was some contact between Zorline and 38th place Melissa Alexander, 39th Jordan Lopez, 40th is Riley Henry. Back up at the front, Scott Groverston actually lost the lead. I think he's in pit road. Is he in pit road? I'm pretty sure he's on pit road. But yeah, he gave up the lead as now Daniel Voiles has the spot. Yeah, he did come down to pit road, and he was the only one to come down that lap. Now here comes a good chunk of the front of the field coming in, as right now the new battle for the lead is between William Brock and Joey Parkhill. Looks like Brock's going to lead the lap here. Looking around to see if there was any stack-ups coming into pit road, and don't see any damage on anybody, so it looks like we are okay for now. As now here comes the new leaders into pit road. Now Carson Gum, Jonathan Zorline stay out. I believe they haven't pitted yet, so these two will now be the ones battling for the lead for the time being. Or actually, no, Park Hill was still leading, but now he's in pit road. And now here comes Carson and Zorleen. So, whoa, it's going to be close, but I think this is going to be more than likely be whoever's going to get the lead off of pit road between Daniel Voiles and Scott Groverston, as they are side by side. Groverston actually making the outside line work a little bit. But then again, he's been on the track longer after the pit stop than Voiles, so he's had more heat on the tires, whereas Voiles is still trying to get his tires completely warmed up. And also, not to mention, they're going to come across lap traffic eventually. So we are well past the halfway point now here at North Wilkesboro, and it looks like the leader will now be Daniel Voiles. So we'll try and do a full field rundown here in just a moment once the scoring has officially updated. And there you go. So now, time for the full field rundown as it stands currently. Daniel Voiles leads, second is Scott Groverston, third is Henry Sanford, fourth Michael Norman, fifth Henry Duran. Sixth is William Brock, seventh Jesse Turner, eighth Joey Parkhill, ninth Alyssa Drayson, 10th Jessica Shelton. 11th is Caleb Kilburn, 12th Dylan Young, 13th Stephen Kalan, 14th is Jordan Forbes, 15th Rafael Leduc, 16th Daniel Bouchard, 17th is James Qualls, 18th Charles Belding, 19th Keith Miller Jr., 20th Ashlyn Boyd. 21st Trey Wright, 22nd Cole Deaver, 23rd Seth Cole, 24th Arthur Xavier, 25th Ryan Acosta, 26th Mitchell Collins, 27th Carson Gum, 28th Stuart Campbell, 29th Matt McIntyre, 30th Kyle Matthews, 31st Jay Jefferson, 32nd Alexander Rowe, 33rd is Dylan Jacobs, 34th Aaron Macklin, 35th Rob Evans. 36th is Jonathan Zorleen, 37th Charles Sanford, 38th Melissa Alexander, 39th Jordan Lopez, 40th Riley Henry. So right now, Daniel Voiles still hanging on to a small lead over Scott Groverston. Groverston's been a strong competitor all race long. In fact, he passed Dylan Young before lap 20 and held on to the lead until he came into pit road, but now he's contending with Daniel Voiles, who had a slightly better pit stop than the 42, but also a couple drivers trying to reel them in. Michael Norman and Henry Sanford, which Sanford has pretty much been a top 5 contender all race long so far. Voiles ran about a 10.5 faster than Scott that lap, but eventually they're going to come across lap traffic at some point, as they will come across Jordan Lopez and Riley Henry especially very, very soon, and that could really throw a wrench into the works of who's going to win this race. As this race has really just been zipping along, as we've had no cautions so far here today. But some really good racing up at the front and some pit strategy going on, as we saw the drivers pit right at the halfway point of the race. But Groverston was the first one to come in, so I do have a feeling he's going to have a slight disadvantage of having one lap less than a lot of other people on gas, but I feel like he should be good to go to make it the rest of the way. However, Groverston's really losing ground as he is just running slower and slower on the track as Voiles continues to pull away. Let's see if we got a new fastest lap of the race. Yes, we do. Holy cow, and it was blistered as Matt McIntyre with a 21.488. Fastest lap of the day so far. Next time by, it'll be 15 laps to go here at North Wilkesboro for the first Union 400. Daniel Voiles, in just his second career start, running very strong up here at the front. Oh man, they are 4 wide up ahead. This may not end well. Or 3 wide. Did I say 4 wide? I meant to say 3 wide. But it looks like they are going to settle it out. I thought there was probably going to be some contact. That was with Riley Henry, Melissa Alexander, and Aaron Macklin. And Aaron Macklin might end up getting bottom 5 here today, which is going to be a shocker if that were to be the case. And now Daniel Voiles has caught up to lap traffic. Now comes the question, will the drivers behind Daniel Voiles be able to reel in the 26 and make it a bigger battle for the lead because of lap traffic? So far, it's not playing a factor, at least not yet, but there's still plenty of time for something to go awry, as Daniel Voiles leads now by almost a second and a half over Groverston. Groverston's car just seems to be slower every single lap, and I think it's because he's got slightly older tires, and he might be trying to conserve gas a little bit because of the fact that he pitted first out of everybody. Although the gap shrunk just a little bit as Daniel Voiles just passed Aaron Macklin to put him a lap down and now is behind the 40 of Riley Henry, who in turn is making his first career start, but it doesn't look like he's going to be able to get any points despite that. And the lead actually grew to almost 1 3/4 of a second between the 26 and the 42. This time by, it will be 10 laps to go here in the first Union 400. As Voiles is dealing with some heavy lap traffic, he still managed to pull away from everybody. Let's see the margin now. Actually shrunk a little bit back to almost 1.6 seconds. Although Groverston is about to get under fire from Michael Norman, as Norman's been slowly running faster than the top 2. Although he took that corner a little bit too high and it cost him a little bit of momentum. Margins going down little by little, but not a significant amount. As Voiles is actually having a hard time getting through lap traffic, as he's only passed Aaron Macklin. He's not been able to pass Zorleen, Evans, Henry, and so on. Margin now under a second and a half. But unless something really drastic happens with this lap traffic, as we see side by side with Zorleen and Rob Evans, I don't know, we'll see, as Voiles actually kind of got boxed in a little bit as he's stuck behind this side by side battle for the 38th spot. But despite that, he grew his lead again to 1.7 seconds. As now Scott Groverston still running slower on the track. But somehow Voiles actually ran much faster than the drivers behind him. Somehow, some way. Margin now 1.6 seconds. As now Voiles finally gets around Rob Evans, but still has Jonathan Zorleen right there in front of him. And Rob Evans might actually try and battle it out with Voiles to get his lap back, which in turn could really help drivers from second on back to fifth, as now it looks like second through fifth is together. As William Brock has actually been catching everybody really fast and actually is now past Henry Sanford for the fourth spot. And Aaron Macklin is holding up everybody from second on back, which is probably a team effort, as Voiles and Macklin are teammates out of Average Joe Enterprises, and now over a 2-second lead with less than 4 laps to go. Don't see anybody getting around Voiles, and how interesting would this be? First 2 races of the season, rookies win, and they are teammates out of Average Joe Enterprises, so yeah, that'd be something. First 2 races won by Average Joe Enterprises. It's looking like that's what's going to happen as Voiles continues to extend his lead. Groverston finally getting around Macklin, but it's too late for him to make any kind of move. As there's a big cluster of cars from second on back to Henry Durand, which is 9th. Two laps to go here at North Wilkesboro. 2.3 seconds separate the top two, as Daniel Voiles is more than likely going to win this race unless something happens here on the final lap. A miracle, in fact. White flag is out here at North Wilkesboro for Daniel Voiles. Going through 3 and 4, no problem. It's all his. As we're getting ready to come off of turn number 4 for the final time, checkered flag waving, Daniel Voiles wins the First Union 400 at North Wilkesboro. Made an amazing pit call to pit after Scott Groverston did, had the slightly faster pit stop, had the advantage on running the bottom, and then just pulled away like a rocket, essentially. And for the second race in a row, a driver out of Average Joe Enterprises, as well as a rookie, wins here at North Wilkesboro. And I don't know why William Brock retired. I guess he might have ran out of... I don't know what happened there. Probably a glitch, but... Regardless, Daniel Voiles picks up his first career win in the Marvel Studios Cup Series. But let's look at the rest of the results. William Brock, despite the scoring pylon saying that he retired... he got a second place finish, and he kind of came out of nowhere to get a second place run, as he by some miracle pulled it off and got up to second. Jesse Turner, much needed good run and finishing in third after an abysmal Daytona 500. Scott Groverston, who was one of the dominant cars of the race, finishing in fourth, and then Michael Norman with a solid performance in the fifth position. Henry Sanford, great run in the 6th spot, 2 straight top 10 finishes, and will more than likely take the points lead over. Jessica Sheldon with a solid performance in the 7th spot, and will more than likely get second in points. Or I don't know, maybe Voiles could take the points lead over. We'll see afterwards. But anyways, Henry Durand in his first career start, finishing in 8th. Joey Parkhill definitely needed that run of 9th, and then Dylan Young in his first start this season, finishing in 10th. Then there is your top 20, top 30, and then the bottom 5 for this week, for the second week in a row for both Melissa Alexander and Jonathan Zorlane, along with Riley Henry, Rob Evans, and the Daytona 500 winner Aaron Macklin, all finish bottom 5 and will not get points. Well, that does it for our coverage here today at North Wilkesboro Speedway. Congratulations to Daniel Voiles. We'll see you Wednesday for wherever we go next. Until then, this is Levi McIntyre, signing off.